Okay, Big Lebowski. It's been in for, I guess we've had it 3 weeks now? Has it been that long? Something like that. What are my thoughts? All right, I'm going to tell you my thoughts, and I'm going to tell you some problems we've had. They've been pretty basic problems, but they're problems that were sort of like, why did this happen? So, let's get into it. All right, so overall, I love the game. What I don't like about it, shiny fingerprint magnet. I guess this is fine if you have it in your house as kind of a showcase sort of deal, but in a public setting, this just looks gross all the time, and it bugs me. So I have another lockdown bar that will fit in this. That's actually it's more, kind of this sort of thing. Which I think will look better just overall. So I'm going to swap those out. The other thing that they did at Dutch Pinball that drives me up the wall, the power switch is here, right under here. Why is it there? Why not there like every other pinball machine in the whole planet except for Stern? American Pinball got it figured out. Their switches are right there. Not where you have to lean way I can't even reach it kind of thing. I don't understand. I don't get it. Okay, there's one other little minor thing about this game that kind of bugs me, is it has a thing called profiles. So you can go in, you can set up your profile, you set up your high score letters that you want, your 3 letters you want for your high score, and you can add your first name and last name. And then when you go to play the game, you can enter into your profile, you can play the game, and it tracks a bunch of stats and a bunch of other things. That's fine for home use, but in a public setting, what I see, especially kids, they get into the add a profile setting, or they get into some other profile setting, and they get totally lost. What am I doing? I'm supposed to be playing pinball. What is this profile thing? What does it want me to do? And they either enter a whole bunch of gobbledygook, or they just walk away from the machine. So it would be really cool if there was a feature we could just turn off profiles if we don't want it. I don't know of anybody that has come in here that has used it. People enter their high scores, they like doing that, and then they enter the little profile thing. But when they come back to play it, those same people, and these are kind of, these are pinball people, they come back, they don't ever enter their profile to start when they go to play a game. They don't ever enter the profile to track how they're playing. It's just if they get another high score, then they go and do it then. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool if we could just nuke the profile thing altogether. Keep the high scores. High scores are fun. So, the problems we've had with this, we've had 2 problems. Well, we've had a few problems. Under the playfield, things are wiggling free. So we had this little guy right here had come loose, and that was a little bit of an issue. So one of the problems when that screw comes loose, or one of those screws comes loose, it drops down, and right below it is this daughter card. And so that metal lands right on top of the circuit board. Probably not a good thing to have happen. I was told that this little daughter card has something to do with the LED lighting or something, so there's not a huge amount of power going through it, but you still don't want to take the chance of it shorting out. So I tightened that up. I put a little of a Loctite on it, screwed it back in place, got it tightened up, and then just for safety, I put this little piece of tape right over that hole that it would drop down. So if it ever comes loose again, it'll land on that little piece of tape. It won't come all the way through. There's no traces or anything right there on that board that daughter card attaches to. So having a little piece of tape there is perfectly fine. It won't affect anything. So something to look for if you have a Big Lebowski. So we had it set up for where you could hold the flippers in and you go into bowling challenge. We had some kids in here and they were interested in the bowling feature of this, so I showed them how to go in and just do the bowling. They sat here and played bowling. I don't know, they probably played 6 games just straight bowling. They didn't play pinball, they just did 10 frames of bowling. And I had smelled a coil melting from somewhere. I thought it was coming from one of these machines over here, but I couldn't track down where exactly it was coming from. And then later in the day, it became apparent that it was that solenoid that drops the ball, that launches the ball in the bowling alley. So that had basically melted itself to death. I got in touch with Dutch Pinball, and the guy who does their tech support there, fantastic guy, his name's Renz, I think is how you pronounce it. Super nice guy. So we worked out the issue. They sent me a replacement coil. That's in there. Seems to be working fine. I had another coil die. So if you hold the right flipper and launch the ball, it'll send the ball up to this little playfield. It'll kick it out right here, and then you can play around in the upper playfield. So there's a little diverter coil there. That had just died for who knows what reason, but basically cooked itself to death. All right, so the one that died is this little guy back here, and that's the one that makes this little guy go down to launch the ball. It's a little hard to get out of there. It's got screws. Can I get this? Maybe you can see this. Those 4 screws in the back have to come out. And if you notice, these are Torx screws. So everything in here is Torx. If you get one of these guys, you probably need a set. Then the other one that died is this solenoid right here. All right, this is the ball release mechanism. Pretty straightforward thingy. 4 screws to hold it in. It's kind of a pain to get back in because of its location. It's just sort of back behind there, so you have to do everything by feel. You can take this whole mechanism out, but it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10 bolts that go through the underside of the playfield. Let's see, can we see it? They're there somewhere. I don't know. They're under there somewhere. Kind of a pain to get out, the whole thing, I think. So Dutch Pinball sent me a little bit of sneak peek to code version 1.13, and they've addressed a few of these solenoid problems. There's some cool down times and everything. What I'll do is I'll put the current changes and bug fixes on the screen here. So this is what they've got in this release so far. I don't know when this is going to be publicly available, but I put this in here already, and so far so good. Okay, so 113 is on there. Coil strengths, let's go here. Bowling alley. So I had it set all the way down. I don't remember what factory default was, but that's it. So let's keep it there. Shooter lane diverter. I had it there. Factory default is 20. I don't remember what it was, but we'll leave it there. Let's go and look at our flippy floppies. Left flipper holds strong. So I had it at 32. That's seemed to be fairly good. Leave it at 32. Upper flipper, that's set for default. Okay. So it's really pretty cool that they addressed some of the problems that I've been having with this. I do know that the back diverter, the shooter diverter coil, Ren said that there were a few people that had that problem as well. So it's cool that they've addressed this so quickly. And then with the problem that I had, they've addressed that like almost right away, because apparently I'm the only one that had the problem so far. So yeah, so that's great. I still, if you have the new version, the 1.13, when that's available, you download it, you put it in, I would still lower your shooter solenoid for bowling and the shooter diverter coil, I would still lower those down, all the way down. Make sure it works. If it works, just leave them like that. There's no reason to have a bunch of extra power going through these solenoids if you don't really need it. So that's great. Okay, so there we go. A couple of little minor fixes, a little bit of a code update. Some really kind of useful things in the code update. I like that. Overall, what do I think of the machine? I think it's fantastic. I still, even with the couple of little glitchy things and the amount of time I've had to kind of get under the playfield, it's still great. And Ren's and Dutch Pinball have been super nice and super helpful, and they're on top of it and taking care of whatever issues I have. So that's been really, really handy. Yeah, great game still. So I'm gonna play it. All right, thanks for watching.